live stream. So we're excited to welcome David and Sirian from GiftIt.
Hello.
They're founders who have just launched their app. Yeah, just launched their app.
Here.
That's right. Yeah, true. You're in Zurich now. Sirian, you're from Netherlands, right? Or like live there? Very cool.
Yeah, and I'm also Dutch, so all over the Nederlandse mensjes.
Very cool.
Para la gente española, I'm from Spain, and I'm half Dutch, half Spanish, but originally from Barcelona.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah. Well, I'll be in Europe at some point this coming year. So
awesome.
My wife wanted to. She's really trying to beg me to take her over there for her birthday, and we just got a new puppy who's 6 weeks old, or 9 weeks old now. I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. Wow. So we're gonna push that trip a little bit. We will.
Andrew, where are you? I see a rustic background.
Yeah. Oh. Your background is really cool.
Is this in Texas? Or?
Oh no, we're not in Texas anymore. I'm in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. We're doing a FlutterFlow hackathon. So yeah.
Wait, what's that actually? Like, what is it? You guys are hacking, or some?
We are hacking. We are hacking. I'm hacking. I'm working on some FlutterFlow wrapped stuff. So, and then there's some other secretive things that we're working on that are just they're out there, you know. So we'll see.
When are we gonna hear anything from those, or are they maybe not gonna come out?
Yeah. So the way we do hackathons is we work on things that we don't know if we can actually accomplish. So like. Whereas during our regular dev cycles, it's like we're implementing features that we know are possible, and maybe they're a little difficult, but we'll implement them. This week we're working on features that are highly requested or really cool that we just are like, we don't know if they're possible. Let's just find out. Let's spend a week and find out. So, yeah, you'll find out about some of them because some of them will launch probably beginning of the year because we'll basically we're doing a showcase tonight on the feature, and then we'll polish them up over the next couple weeks, and then we'll probably launch them, beginning of year, something like that.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it's gonna be very cool.
Nice. There's one feature that we're super like the share sheet thing for us. We've been thinking about whether to do that custom in some way. But it obviously would be super useful for us because if you can like literally just add any link from the internet to your wish list just like that. That would be great.
All right. See, that one's like a feature that we can just add because Flutter just released something, I think, that like a pub dev package for that.
Oh, what?
Right?
Yeah, accepting stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Well, cool. Well, hey, we have like 30 online now. It's pretty good. It's decent. More will join, but we wanted to. Sorry, just trying to read all the comments. We wanted to have David and Sirian here. And we wanted them to showcase their incredible and beautiful and extremely functional application that they built within FlutterFlow. It's sort of impressive, everything you guys did. So why don't you guys give us an overview of what GiftIt is, what your backgrounds are, and then you can dive into like how you utilize FlutterFlow and what makes you guys special.
Okay, maybe I can start with the intro of GiftIt, and then you can talk about how we utilize FlutterFlow. Okay, so so hi, nice to meet you guys. Good to be here. I'm David. This is Sirian. We're building GiftIt. We've been building GiftIt now for several months. First part-time next to our studies, and now full-time for a few months. We've iterated through many versions of the app, and we can get into that later. But the current version of the app of GiftIt is it allows you basically to find out what your friends want, friends and family, any of your loved ones, without killing the surprise. So we have an AI persona that we call GiftIt Sherlock, and it's essentially like an anonymous middleman between you and your friends. So you can request Sherlock to reach out to any of your phone contacts through either iMessage or WhatsApp, and it'll have a conversation with them about their wishes, whatever is going on in their life, their recent hobbies, all of that, and then share the transcript of that conversation with you along with shoppable gift recommendations. So that's GiftIt in a nutshell, and we'll show you a demo, a promo video that we've created as well, and we launched it like a couple of days ago to the App Store and Play Store. So it's just in time for the holiday season.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'm utilizing it. I just told them I had already invited some of my friends and coworkers to GiftIt. So engage Sherlock. But yeah, do you guys want to share your screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
You can go ahead.
And we can watch that little video.
Am I sharing my screen?
Yes, you are.
Nice.
Good to go.
Okay, well, maybe let's start with the video.
Yeah, so you go to our website, I guess, no?
Well, I have it here, so yeah. Okay, I don't know. Is the audio shared as well?
Yes.
We'll see.
It should be.
Otherwise,
we only get this one life. Don't you wanna feel good all day, all night? Bet you we could have a good time. Yeah. Take a chance and let go. Throw your hesitation and your no out the window. So easy if you say so. Yeah. I'll be right here when you're ready. When you're ready, let me know. I got just what you need. I'm gonna give it to you. 1, 2, 3, and up. There ain't no stopping me. I know what you want, know what you want, know what you want. I got just what you need. I'm gonna set you free. And 1, 2, 3, and up. There ain't no stopping me. I know what you want, know what you want, know what you want.
so, well, that's the video.
That's amazing. I mean, just Sirian, it speaks to your talent in more than one way, you know? I mean, just a video creator, designer, FlutterFlow expert, all of the above. So you guys are very cool.
Yeah.
And it shows to you like how much work goes into essentially how much work goes into launching a startup and putting it out there and getting good marketing, how important that is. Because like building an app is one thing, actually marketing it and getting users on it and engaging people and running a company is something different. You guys have done an excellent job of doing that, just at this initial launch. So
yeah, we're just starting out still.
Yeah. We don't want to pretend like
we're startup.
Yeah.
Will has been there a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah, you went to like Techstars, or I seem to remember something like that, but
Yeah, I went through Antler here in NYC.
Antler.
That's where I'm based. So they're a global
Antler.
incubator, accelerator. But no, definitely want to commend you guys. I actually had a question. The website too looks like stunning. Did you use Rive animations for the Sherlock or something else? Like, what is the Sherlock character made out of?
Yeah,
obviously it's beautifully created, everything there.
It's based on like Fluent emojis from Microsoft.
Okay, nice.
And then I imported it into Rive and animated there.
That's awesome.
With a little loop, and then there are a bunch of like where are they? Is this one? Yeah, probably this one.
That's awesome.
And then there's like the big animation with the
Wow.
Yeah, the really taking advantage of like every very complex yet popular tools out there, right? Like you're using FlutterFlow. I think you're using what, Webflow for the website? I would assume Framer. Okay, Framer for the website, right? Like I guess in this case, so you're just really like across the board showcasing what is possible with these kind of low code, no code.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We actually were also using BuildShip for our backend for like the initial demo of Sherlock. So that was built completely in BuildShip, and we actually have a blog post coming up where we're going to talk about how we did that. And another thing is that we also try to think a lot about killing multiple birds with one stone. So here with Rive, what's super cool is that it integrates both with Framer but also with Flutter. and FlutterFlow. So we knew that we could like reuse these assets not only for the website, but we could also add them like on the onboarding of our app, and that's quite important because we're like a a 2-person. Well, we're like a super small team, and we have very limited resources.
You would not be able to tell, I would say, from the multitude of designing, developing, like even the video I'm watching like right now as it animates through, and it's like honestly fantastic. Yeah, it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, it's also fun to look at especially the older, like the original Figma file.
Oh god,
yeah. I think you shared it one time with me, and I was like, "Holy cow!"
A lot of comments, or
yeah, like the original one, original.
Yeah, you can just go through that. Like, there's like.
Yeah, it just became too big at some point, so I had to move like the V2 version to a new file because it's just like,
I
don't know,
it took forever to load.
Yeah,
and
like it does now.
And there's like 800 comments in there, like, or comment threads in there. That's it's not even loading properly. But yeah.
Oh, there it is. Oh, this is only for the second version, so there are like comments.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And then this is the one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it goes.
Gorgeous. Yeah, but that sometimes takes a long time to load.
Yeah, it kind of shows you, like, this is how it started. Like, first version of the app, completely different, actually. We didn't have the Sherlock concept, so it was more around social wish lists and being able to buy products from multiple e-commerce brands.
And it had checkout in there, so you could actually like buy products, which is pretty cool. Which we're also going to implement in a new version, but that's still something we need to work on.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like lots of stuff. So like the perfectionistic thing is still like a changer.
very, very much so.
I'm like, I don't know. These don't look like mock-ups to me. This looks like a full, it's like dribble ready here.
No, totally. I had even asked. I messaged Sirian, I think last week or 2 weeks ago. I was like, you know what? I would really like to be able to like, input a link into my friend's profile, the wish list. And I was like, I think that'd be really cool. He's like, oh, I actually mocked it up in Figma, and we thought about doing that. And I opened my app last week, and it was there. And I was like, oh, okay, we got that. So
yeah, I mean, we can showcase all of that now if we do like a live demo or something.
Yeah. So here is GiftIt. I'll just hide the code for now. So yeah, this is the launch screen. You can also go live mode. Hey, nice. So yeah, here are like the birthdays of your friends. So you can track them and easily go to the wish list of the first upcoming one, or just quickly add a gift to yourself or whoever you want. Here's the Sherlock page. So here are all your active investigations on people. So you can also send it to yourself. So this is like an example with a summary, and then lots of gift suggestions, and then there's the full chat. So you can like look into it in real time. So if I respond on my phone, is this active actually? Yeah, it's active. Good. So if I respond here,
yeah, and what's happening in the background is you're integrated with iMessage, right? With the backend?
Yeah, iMessage and WhatsApp.
Yeah, so right now Sirian's phone, like you can show your screen.
So we're using WhatsApp in this case, but you can use both, and it works the same.
Yeah. So it's all coming to like the same centralized database, which is what is then synced to FlutterFlow, and then from there, it's being sent out to either WhatsApp or iMessage. So there's like automated responses that Sherlock is generating, and Sirian can also, or like the person that's investigating can also pause Sherlock and then inject a message that'll, I mean, you can just type anything.
Interesting.
And this message will then be directly popped into the phone of your friend. So if Sherlock is not asking a specific question, like the dress size of that person or something like that.
Oh yeah, this is a weird case because I'm sending it to myself.
Yeah.
It's like a weird edge case. It's not the best example to
You
use.
you can send it to me. I'll message you back.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can just start a new investigation here.
Then we can immediately show like the stuff you can add.
So you're saying that you could use Sherlock to help come up with ideas for yourself too,
Yeah.
which honestly pretty helpful as well.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I sometimes struggle with that.
We have a testimonial on our website that says exactly that it helped them like think about things they might need by just digging deeper. And also, if you do an investigation on yourself, people that then join the app and add you as friends will have access to that investigation, so they can also
Nice.
use those ideas.
So yeah, you can add like multitude of information in here. You can add like a communication.
You can try for the creative mode, like to put some info.
Yeah, I'm adding some info.
Yeah, but say like FlutterFlow or something.
Yeah, I did. And you can add any additional instructions if you want to, like Max.
Ask him about his coffee. Ask him about his love for coffee.
So true. So true, David. You know me well.
Yeah, you know. I mean, yeah.
And then we can preview it, and then it will generate either like a standard one, or you can.
This is sweet. This is sweet.
creative.
Like this creative message.
Yeah,
sort of, and like the trust score.
Yeah,
I love
exactly. We want to maximize that because people don't know. Yeah, you see this message?
Beautiful. Wow.
Yeah,
So
I mean, look at this
stuff, like especially since it was built in FlutterFlow, right? Like walk through, for example, the colored slider. That's a perfect example of something that someone might see and say, "Wow, I want to immediately like try to recreate that." So, I mean, you don't have to give it exactly away, but did you know, what did you use to create something like that?
So it's.
I like that you're using the command palette. Very nice.
Yeah, I use it all the time. Like, otherwise,
this project is a little
way too much in there. So, but yeah, for the slider, it's just like a container with a gradient, and then that's in a stack with a little styled shadow blur container thing in there, and then the alignment is set from a variable.
Oh, so dude, yes.
There's a little formula, whatever in there that converts like a score from 1 to 10 to a score between -1 and 1. And then based on that, it will position itself. So it's actually pretty simple. And then it just has a like onload animation that just slides a little bit. So it looks like it's sliding from the left.
I love that.
So yeah, actually pretty simple, but yeah, it is pretty cool.
It's cool when, like if you put everything together.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you do music production where all the individual pieces are very simple, but once you start putting everything together, it like feels so nice.
Yep. We have two questions. One, what are you guys using as a database?
Firebase.
Yeah.
Okay.
Firebase.
Cool. Very nice. Yeah. And then one, which you'll get into later, Andrew, I just want to mention, they'll get into how they integrate with iMessage and WhatsApp a little bit later. David's going to show it off. So,
I mean, it's really not rocket science, but
hey, says a rocket scientist. Okay, for all of us normal people, it's a little more
actually,
complicated.
my background aerospace and robotics, so that's why I love FlutterFlow so much, because honestly, I had like very little idea of app and web development before I started. So I learned a lot of it just by building this, like all the previous versions as well. And at this point now we're like at a place where we actually can execute so quickly. It's like really awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
Very cool.
But yeah, so yeah, you see here that the message is like super tailored, right? We really want it to be like this every time, where it's like impossible that person thinks it's like a spam message because it's just so tailored to them.
So now
it should be sending to Andrew's iMessage. And let's see.
All right. Sometimes it takes a second. Nope, did it right there. It's here.
Okay. Wait, can we? Yeah. Okay, so you can just like have a chat with it.
Yeah. Oh, I can even add you guys as a contact. Brilliant. Come on.
Yeah. We attached the contact card of Sherlock so that you can like see more information about GiftIt, and yeah, just have it stored.
Okay, let's see. Oh yes, thank you. Hello.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
I sent 2 messages at once, or 2 messages back to back. So.
Oh, okay. I like fellow products. Let's see. Yeah, so right now it's gonna answer to each individual message.
Yeah.
It's not smart enough, I guess, yet.
Oh,
to,
dude,
like,
it's that's so that's very complicated. Like
yeah,
you'd have to like, oh, is user typing? You know, like.
yeah. We don't even have access to that information if they're
Yep.
typing. So you would have to like interrupt the previous message being generated, or like just check right before you send it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but
Very cool.
And then, well,
Yep. It sent me two of them. So.
sure.
Yeah.
there they are.
Yeah.
So now,
Wait, what is happening? Oh, the grind.
yeah, the emojis are a bit weird. Oh, there are new ones now.
Hey, that's exactly what I would ask for. You know, I said fellow ode. I mean, that's the one I have, the ode.
So how do you guys get these products too? That's pretty cool how you are fetching product recommendations. Are you using
Yeah. So right now,
or how does that all work?
Oh, wow,
yeah. So look at this.
Yeah.
This is basically like the second piece of our backend, which is like our e-commerce backend. We already started working on that in the first version of the app. Right now, so basically what we have is there's a bunch of e-commerce platforms like Shopify, Magento, etc. Potentially in the future Amazon as well, that that you can connect to and you can get like massive catalogs from, and then we store a curated catalog in our own backend. And currently, like, recommendations are just based on Algolia search, so it's very, very simple. So it's keyword search, and it doesn't work too well at the moment. It gets you there, like as you can see now, you can still search for products, and it works for many cases. But of course, the ideal way to do this, which is what we're going to do in the next stage, would be to generate embeddings for all product descriptions, product names, even product images, and then match those with embeddings of the query of the user, so that you're doing like semantic search, essentially, not keyword based search. And also, of course, having the ability to filter on price, filter on location, because we are going to be able to then ship products globally, because we're not the ones actually touching the product. We're just letting our partner brands and other Shopify stores that we offer products from do all the like logistics of shipping the product.
Nice. That's really cool. Really, obviously, like really bringing it all together is an awesome experience.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Eli says, like, how does a user buy the product? And you just mentioned you're just buying it off the actual link.
So we want to.
Yeah, currently that's like still you would just like go to the link. So that's one that does work. Oh, okay. Oh, this is nice. Oh, okay. Well, this one does work.
Yeah, so you can see that right now it's not. It's like still there's a bit of scraping in there, so it's not always up to date. Like we're moving towards a model where it's completely synced, and we onboard more and more brand partners. But yeah, like for the brands that are not partners, we do have to do a little bit of scraping, for instance.
That's
and
awesome.
then so yeah, right now you would basically just like click into the link and go somewhere. But eventually the goal is you just get like a Stripe payment sheet, and then you can just buy directly from the app.
Nice. And then would you guys get referral or like sort of like an affiliate, some sort of fee?
Yeah,
that's very nice.
Yeah, that's the business model. So we don't plan to charge users. We just want to give the best experience, so that first users engage with Sherlock, then they get good recommendations, and then they decide to conveniently buy those products through the app.
Nice.
So
yeah, very impressive. Very cool. Let's see if there's any relevant questions. I mean, a lot of people are just saying, how do you connect to Shopify? But
Yeah,
yes,
that's
Shopify
a
API.
whole,
Yeah.
that's a whole
That's
rabbit
a
hole.
week-long
That's an
course.
interesting question.
Yeah.
What was the easiest part for you using FlutterFlow? And then after that, it would be great to know what was the most challenging part given your team, right? As you said, like you're both not crazy like Flutter developers, right? But I would say like this application alone would have taken from a standard development timeline a year at least,
Plus.
right? 6 months to a year minimum.
Yeah.
Just with everything, right? So yeah, I mean, I would love to know like what was the easiest and hardest part for you utilizing FlutterFlow, right? For those watching too that might be in a similar position or debating on getting started.
I think, like easiest, like just building the general layouts is like really quick. And then like the stuff that takes more time, I don't know, it's like conditions or whatever, like testing that, and some like small, well, like for example, this great like masked blur thing, which
Oh,
is
here, I'll
custom
share it
code.
again.
Like you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
That took a lot of like, work and code. That's a custom widget,
Nice.
and I
That
didn't
almost
find
looks like
references for it.
Is that that went viral, right? The gradient blur
Yeah.
over time on Twitter. I know that was really popular across like Figma and Framer and all sorts of things. So
Yeah,
it's really
sorry, I built it before actually.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But it was like in Figma it's pretty easy, but yeah, in Flutter it was a lot more work because you need like a custom painter thing, and then getting it to work was quite a hassle.
Yeah.
But it works now, and it's also really performant, so that's great as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've noticed that blur sometimes within Flutter can cause some issues.
There's so many, because at first we had much more blurs as well. For example, like this light, it's pretty subtle, but like there's this gradient on the background, which at first was like just a gradient block in FlutterFlow, and then blur that out.
Yep.
But because it's such a big block, it was like really like hitting the performance. So then I did some trials in Figma, and then I came up with the idea to create like a radial gradient, and then not blur that, but alpha mask that with another radial gradient, and then it looks exactly the same, but it's super fast. So
and it's just like a PNG background or something like that, right?
No, it's like fully dynamic, so you can like set the colors and whatever. Because also, if you go to a wish list, they have like this. It's yellow for the emoji here.
Okay.
So yeah, they can just be set from a variable. There's orange. Here it's green.
Nice.
And here it's red. So, and also on the home screen, like based on the time of day, like these colors slightly changed. Small detail. Very small detail.
That's
very impressive.
what we mean when we talk about
this is very far past MVP. We'll put this is like, this is like top tier production quality, which is fantastic. Again, like I think we hear time and time again that FlutterFlow apps, people have this perception that what you're building is going to be like bare bones or MVPs, right? And we hear that, but this is a perfect example of, again, what's truly possible with using FlutterFlow alongside other platforms, right? You're using Firebase, but also BuildShip you mentioned for different actions, and I'm sure various API calls and things. So again, just what's possible with building in FlutterFlow. And then here, right, you've clearly exported the code out of FlutterFlow to run it as well, right? You're not locked in per se. You could add whatever custom stuff you need to.
That's massive. That's massive. Like if this was like a lock-in, like Bubble or something, and we could only test in like some kind of sandbox environment, our development would look completely different, and honestly it would be way worse. Like right now I test everything in I basically we connect like this local instance of the app that's running in a simulator to a Firebase emulator suite, and that's like fucking insane. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it emulates all services. It emulates Firestore, it emulates like Firestore extensions, even Cloud Functions, all of that.
Wow.
And so you can literally like put a breakpoint inside your code, inside like a backend function that you're building, and then you press on some action that should trigger that function to run in the backend, and it'll literally like stop on that breakpoint, and you can like it's just perfect for development. So that's a huge part for us, definitely.
That's
very
amazing.
impressive.
Yeah, we're using also like the FlutterFlow, what's it called, like the CLI?
CLI.
Nice.
Yeah, so like really quickly, like fetch the code and just refresh
Yeah.
here, and we have the updated app.
Yeah.
Straight from FlutterFlow, which makes it like super quick to debug and just have like a
Yeah.
real version of the app running in the simulator at all times.
Very. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's real development. I mean, like, dude, we're talking product development here. We're not just talking low code platform.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the impressive thing.
And-
Building
yeah,
real products.
You can actually see here like the ability for us to also add custom stuff, right? Here you see in the main function, we're adding a bunch of functions that run on init. And I just love that FlutterFlow, like FlutterFlow is aware that it is a low-code tool and that it's not as flexible as building like completely from scratch, but it still tries to give you freedom to add those customizations, add those custom functions, custom widgets, custom actions, and that's like super important, I think.
Agreed. That's awesome. Very cool. So I have a couple more questions because you guys have, you've launched this. You've also gotten funding. So we have a lot of people building on FlutterFlow that they want to, they want to get funding or they want to launch a startup. So talk to us about that process and, maybe just five minutes or so. What was that process like, and how did you utilize FlutterFlow and your app and development to get there?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't think without FlutterFlow we would be here.
Yeah. No, well, that's like
we would definitely
for
not be
certain,
here.
because we even got in contact because last year I won the design competition.
Yeah.
And then David contacted me. So without FlutterFlow, it wouldn't.
We wouldn't even have
Yeah.
met, but
No.
then we also like wouldn't have gotten started like building an app, because the barrier would have just been too high for our backgrounds, right? Industrial design and aerospace robotics. So yeah, that's the first thing. Like there would just not be a company here or a team or an app without FlutterFlow.
Wow.
And so
we have your permission to quote you on that. Put it in a tweet.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, and then once we started building on FlutterFlow, I think that kind of gives you, if you start embracing the tool, and you become good at it, like we did after spending I don't know how many hours in it, it gives you an unfair advantage. Like we get so much feedback constantly of people like, how did you build this so fast? Like, yeah, and of course investors think the same way, right? They all they care about is speed of execution, because they want to know how fast can you pivot, how nimble are you, and so for us, it's like I think being on a tool like this is perfect for having that agility. Like we've done several refactors of the app completely from scratch, actually, and so that's been because of the tools that we use, including FlutterFlow, of course. I would say those are the main ways that FlutterFlow has contributed to us doing well as a startup and being attractive as an investment.
Yeah,
I would say.
Very, very cool.
But then, of course, raising money, there's a lot of other aspects to the game. You have to think not only about building a cool app, but showing that people want what you're building, and of course having some kind of business model around it, and knowing how to communicate that to investors, and showing that you have a strong team, and that's part of like starting a company. There's so many other things to think about, but yeah, I will say another awesome thing is our ability to deploy things so quickly, right? We spend like zero time or very little time worrying about our CI/CD, which is something that in classical development cycles it's a whole thing, right? Setting all of that up, and with FlutterFlow, just being able to fix something and then have it on test flight like a few minutes later, and then have users give us feedback directly. It's honestly really cool as well.
This is awesome. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, we're not done. We're not done. But just that story was awesome. We're getting a bunch of good questions as well in the chat. Guys, we will address those questions. One of the things that I wanted to also address, so we talked about design, FlutterFlow, how you've implemented it, the product itself. I would love for you, David, to dive into that backend stuff because you implemented, I mean, I cannot believe you're integrating with WhatsApp and iMessage and doing all of that on the back end. Like, I know you said it wasn't rocket science, but we're not rocket scientists. So, just talk a little bit about that and how.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, while you do that, I'm gonna get a charger because.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So this is something I'm also going to mention in BuildChip's blog, but so we've tried to be as pragmatic as possible. I think maybe that's like an unfair advantage we have not coming from a classical development cycle, because some people there are just like disgusted by low-code tools or something, or they think it's beneath them to use them. We're like, hey, whatever works, like we're just gonna try a bunch of stuff, and if we can ship fast, I don't really care what it is, or if people are gonna like think it's not like as professional or something, because all we care about is the result. And so we got the initial idea for Sherlock through actually another product launch of a YC startup, and then we used their product actually to like test the first version of Sherlock, just to like validate it. It was like a tool that did user interviews for through an AI, basically. So instead of having a user interview or a user survey be a fixed form, you would have somebody talk to a chatbot, and then the idea just sprung into our head, like, oh, we could use this also to figure out like what your friends want. So we used that to validate it, and then we went straight to BuildChip. So we were in close contact with Harini and Shams, who I think was in one of your live streams, right, recently? Shams?
Yeah, Shams was in our live stream.
Yeah, so we were literally building the first version of Sherlock in the course of a week on FlutterFlow and BuildChip. The first version of BuildChip, actually, it was in beta.
Nice.
And yeah, at that point, it was like not only Sherlock, what you've seen now. I mean, it was a first version, so it wasn't as extensive. But it was that plus an assistant that you would chat to it, and in the conversation thread, it would like attach products, like specific products that were in our catalog that you could then click into and see the like product detail page and stuff. There's a demo of that, and yeah. So luckily, WhatsApp has its own API. Nice. There's also Twilio, which wraps around WhatsApp. So basically, in the backend, it's about integrating with those APIs. And I think BuildChip even has like built-in blocks to do that. So like having something that just works in a very simple way is actually quite quick to build, and then you can always look at the code that's behind that, and then start building on top of that with more custom code. But yeah, it's kind of that's kind of what it is.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. I love that you also framed it, right? You're not afraid to use these, platforms that empower you to create things quicker, whereas like you said, most developers or development teams are scared or, like, oh, we can't get as far with this, and they don't know how to leverage those. And just like AI, it's important that we leverage AI rather than, fear it or not use it or use it way too much, like leverage it for how it can help your workflows. And you guys are doing that with FlutterFlow, BuildChip, and all of the tools at hand. So I really like that.
VoiceFlow, also recommend VoiceFlow. I'm going to give them a shout out. I was at their Flow Expo recently. We used that also for the first version of like the AI agent behind Sherlock. They themselves integrate with large language models, like providers like OpenAI, etc. But they just make it very easy again to get started. And yeah, we're just we're always on the lookout for tools. I think actually one of the most unfair advantages you can have as a startup is picking the right tools, to be honest. So we're always trying to see what's out there and what we can leverage. And you'd be surprised by the amount of like startups that we interact with on a daily basis. Like the amount of times that I'm like on Discord messaging the founder of a startup whose tool we're using.
Nice.
It's like happens very frequently. And touching on AI, yeah, like I literally developed code in an IDE that's yet another startup where you basically have ChatGPT integrated into it. You can like with like a shortcut like bring code from a file into the chats.
Wow.
You can like attach a link for like certain documentation, and it'll use that in the context to give you an answer. It can use the whole like code base that you're in as context. So it's again like there's awesome tools out there, and if you can find them and leverage them, you're just like I've talked to some people in big companies recently. Like we were having someone try out working with us.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, what tools are you using? You're not using Copilot? Like, what? I mean, it was just, it was crazy to me.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, that's amazing. And again, we're having some great comments in the chat. Shiva, I just want to give a shout out. Shiva, there's another user that has an app built on FlutterFlow. They're going to hit 100K users in Q2 of next year.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome work.
Where we want to get to.
Yeah. No, I think you guys are on the right route. So cool. Let's do one thing. So I would love to answer some of the questions that have been asked in the chat, and then we have a little bit more time. And I don't think we're going to actually build anything on my side today because like let's just showcase you guys. Let's answer questions, and then Sirian, if you want to show off like one or two things within FlutterFlow, like one or two screens that you really loved that you could do in FlutterFlow, and give a testimony about that, that'd be awesome. But
even fix it.
And then Will, if you have any questions or anything, but let's see, how do you guys handle notifications and emails to customers? So John Berna said this.
So for our wait list and newsletter, we're currently using Loops, which is yet another startup. So yeah, there you go. Loops.
Cool. Awesome.
So.
And then, okay, Shopify API, obviously. This one, Eli Grossman. And I think that's it. That's all the ones I saw. Will, do you have any more questions, or anybody else have any questions for the team of GiftIt?
Yeah, I would say one question I have specifically is, how do you think, and maybe you haven't put a ton of thought into this, so maybe I'm putting you on the spot, given you've pivoted so many times, right? And it seems like you've built such a number of complex products, I'll say, or projects, because again, the product has pivoted so many times. Do you think, given the current stage of your application, you'll be able to stay in FlutterFlow as a platform longer term? Do you think this is going to be a project where you've had to implement a ton of custom code and you might have to leave the platform at a certain point? The reason I ask is I would say there's no right or wrong answer, because at the end of the day, right, like FlutterFlow allows you to do both. Even if you do take your project outside of FlutterFlow, you can still go back and use the UI builder or a multitude of other things. So how do you think FlutterFlow will kind of stay with the product as you continue to scale the company?
You want to give your thoughts?
Like I think I don't see any reason like to leave FlutterFlow at all, because like everything's except like maybe the share sheet stuff, but the rest you can do it with custom code, or you can there's a way to do it, and like still with the speed of the updates of FlutterFlow, like it doesn't feel stagnant or anything. So at some point they'll probably support it, or it will be added, or it will be improved. So
Yep, I second that totally. Like having been with you guys for this journey for the past I mean, I think we've been doing stuff in FlutterFlow for more than a year now.
Yeah, I've been in FlutterFlow since 2021. Before
crazy.
The custom code, like that summer.
Yeah.
Then I found it and I was thinking, I'll just use it to build the UI and then export it. And then you guys like added each week. There was more stuff. Okay, I can just do this in here. Oh, you guys added custom functions. Oh, okay, I'll just learn Flutter this way.
Yeah.
And then the custom widgets. I don't need to export anymore.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it was like constantly everything that I just felt was missing, or the theming.
Wow.
Like, shit, now I'm gonna need to export the code. But no, then you guys added theming. So
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
all
So
the time like
that's
that.
super. Like, it just happened so many times where like we never outgrow you guys because you guys are also moving fast. So yeah, we've gotten this question from potential like co-founders that wanted to join the team that came more from like a development environment, and they were just like a bit like nervous about it or something. And we just told them like we can always move if we need to, because there's no lock-in, but we'll stay on here as long as we think it's beneficial, and we've never had like a major issue where like the downside of staying is greater than the upside. So
yeah, I would say like the biggest issue we faced was with blurs.
Yeah.
But that's a Flutter thing.
Yeah.
Performance.
I mean,
there,
it's because of blurs,
Right.
honestly.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just, I guess it's just with some custom things like some examples are like staggered view, right? At some point we couldn't, what was it like, we couldn't do infinite scroll staggered view, and then you guys added that like a month later. Right now we had like this product drag thing, right, which kind of does it work?
Yeah, long press.
Oh, like the ability to drag.
Yeah, drag products. This what isn't natively supported, but we can add like custom widgets to allow this to happen. The share sheet thing, we can for sure make this happen. Like kind of around FlutterFlow somehow. We might have to change like how we deploy FlutterFlow to app stores. Like because we might have to change some of the files inside iOS, and then we'd have to deploy from a branch. But that's actually possible. So it's no, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, totally.
That's great, right? Like that's ideally what we want to hear. Is that kind of supports you throughout the journey, whether you need to move outside the platform or stay within it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then one other just quick question: the IDE that you spoke about, David. A lot of people are asking about that.
It sounds so magical. Yeah, it's called cursor.sh. And you should check it out. It's kind of it's built on top of VS Codium, which is open source, so it looks very similar to VS Code. It'll be super familiar to you, and that's also super nice. But then you basically have like a chat thread integrated into it. I wish I could share my screen here.
I put the link. I put the link in the chat, so I found it and put it in there.
Yeah, but I mean it's not. I mean that's only helpful for me now that we've transitioned some of our backend to like using Firebase functions and deploying them ourselves. But if I was doing low code, then it wouldn't be super useful.
Because I, for example, don't have it. That's why we can't show it.
He doesn't use it, for instance, and in BuildShip you also have AI tools that help you like create nodes and stuff. So if you're on these platforms, you can also use AI in that way.
And then one more question was versioning or staging. You mentioned earlier, like you sort of have this you mentioned something around versioning that made it easy.
Yeah. So actually, this is kind of what we're. So again, I would say big disclaimer is don't worry about that until you feel like there's some kind of market pool for what you're building. And I mean, we're still kind of in that, like we see some excitement. It's still not like 100%, people are like throwing money at us or it's going viral. Hopefully that happens in a few weeks, but we definitely are starting to, get some demand and a lot of positive feedback to the point where we think like this is worth pursuing for at least a little longer and see where it goes. And since there's now quite a significant number of users on the app, we are starting to think more about testing and about like what you were talking about, different environments for testing. So the first layer would be, which is what I'm using to test backend, is or Sirian. If he's testing front end, we would just like pull the code. So FlutterFlow export code. This is the VS Code. No, this is a CLI, right? And then we would test it in the simulator. The nice thing about here is that you can literally put like breakpoints. And so I can just, put a breakpoint here. I can restart the app. I mean, yes. And you see the app is like stopped at this point.
You're not sharing your screen anymore. Or we turned it off. So sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. do that.
Okay, so basically, this is kind of our local development setup. We pull the code, FlutterFlow export code, something like this, and then you see I put a breakpoint here and somewhere in our app, a place where we want to debug something, and then we just like restart the app, and it'll stop at that point exactly, and we can just like go line by line, literally.
Nice.
So that's one. And for backend, we connect. We connect the app. We basically have some kind of configuration that connects the app to a local Firebase instance, instead of like the production instance, right? So
Nice.
that we, whenever we like create a gift or do any action, it doesn't get written to our Firestore that's in production. So we make sure nothing gets disrupted there. And it's super nice because you can like load in a seed with some data, and then when you end the session, everything else gets wiped, and you can like just restart your backend basically from exactly the same point as the previous run. So that's great. And then right now we basically have this and production, but we are thinking about having some kind of staging environment, which, I mean, again, I'm still trying to figure this out, but some people have like a separate Firebase project for that.
Well,
yeah, that's
hopefully you won't have to figure it out in the next couple months. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's exactly what I mean. Like, you guys are here with us, you know.
Save you some headache there, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly. You guys have also added like testing, like UI testing, which is something that we're definitely going to start leveraging now. And there's like unit tests that you can write for Firestore. Another example, like in FlutterFlow right now, the Firestore rules are like you can set up a bunch of stuff, but if you write the code there, it's a lot more. It can be a lot more custom, and you can have like tests on your Firestore rules. But again, that's not a reason to like move away from FlutterFlow, because you can always just deploy your own custom Firestore rules to Firebase directly. And so that's like not a problem at all. But you know, like again, we've been building this now for like, I mean, months, and now we're only thinking about having this Firestore rules be more custom.
I love that. I love that you prefaced it right. You gave that disclaimer, because too often people, you know, they're like, "Oh, I can't do this. Okay, I'm not going to do it." It's like, homie, you don't need to worry about that until down the road. You know, like you're worrying about some left turn up on the track, and you haven't even put your 2 feet in front of you where you're actually started to walk or run. You know, it's like you have to do that first, and then you worry about those things down the road, and you have that much more experience as well. So you'll be able to figure it out. So I love that. Very cool.
Yep, and we're guilty of it as well. So you know, like it's a very natural thing to do, especially if you love building like we do. We really have to remind ourselves, like, hey, what are our users saying, and are we building something that people want? Do people care about this like extra fancy feature or not? Yeah, it's like so yeah,
like daytime background color changing.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I'll be surprised if anyone like.
Hey, but I love that as a designer. Sirian, like Will, Sirian, you know this. Like, it's amazing. Sirian was telling me before we went live, just how easy it is to match Figma designs in FlutterFlow. You know, 1-to-1. I mean, no difference whatsoever. So, you know, for the last 7 minutes, I want to open it up to Sirian and be like, dude, give a testimony for all designers out there and show off what you guys can do, what we can do in FlutterFlow.
Yeah, so you can, it's paused. Oh, it's paused.
Yeah, I'll reshare it.
Yeah, so like, for example, this screen, it's like
we still can't
exactly.
see it.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh, it like turn off again.
Yeah, for some reason. There it is. Boom.
Hey. Okay, so for example, like this screen, it's like exactly the same as in where'd it go? It's this one. Yeah, like it's the same. It's there's some small like little things that we removed, but like you can build a 1-to-1, and especially like I use auto layout like a lot for everything basically in Figma, and it also helps to like know how to set it up in FlutterFlow, because it's pretty much the same. It's just like rows and columns and stacks.
Yep.
So yeah, if you don't do any weird like stuff, just keep it realistic, you can build like anything in FlutterFlow that you design in Figma. So that's great.
Yeah. I have some questions about implementation, because in your application, you have a custom bottom navigation bar, right? Very smooth.
Yep.
And I think the background sort of navigates to the next one. Are you in FlutterFlow? Are you utilizing one main page for all of your views, or how are you doing that?
No, it's just a component. Yeah, just a component in the stack on top of it.
Okay.
So not actually, like at first in my design, I had the idea that it would like sort of like a sliding tab bar would slide to the next page.
Yeah.
But it's just like with a just a component in the stack on top.
Cool.
And it has a like there's each navbar button, which is also a component. And then if it's selected, it does a, yeah, here it is. If it's the current page, it does a widget animation that it like bounces.
Nice. And
so it feels like you actually tap on it and it's real time.
And haptic feedback, right?
And haptics, yeah, lots of haptics.
Yeah.
You and Will, you'll be, I love that. I love that we have.
I recommend like trying this one. It's really good.
Like every button must add a haptic touch to it,
right? This one's awesome.
Overload the user senses as their literally gamified application.
Dude, as a designer, you don't have like that is like magic, because like you can build a prototype in Figma, like, okay, cool. Like maybe utilize like some, I don't know, some cool animations with overlays or something, but to get haptic feedback and be able to like implement this and have it to be code and not a PNG, oh my gosh, like mind blowing, like.
Yeah, and so satisfying to also have like the little animations all work. Also like there's some small stuff here for product, like the stack thingy.
Yeah.
They stack on top of each other.
I love it.
It's like,
do you have that?
And you can go on forever. It's like,
do you have that based off of a stack with like, or are you using just like generating children, right? That have like random. Is that consistent every time? Because like, for example, this is a cool use case that a user is like, oh my god, I want to learn how to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually just a stack with children, and then it has a conditional builder within.
Nice.
Like if the index is like equal or like not, or like a how do you call that?
Yeah, even odd.
Like divisible by 2.
Yeah,
got it.
Oh, modular.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
very cool.
So and then based on that, it switches between 2, so you can like infinitely animate it.
Nice.
I love that.
That's sweet.
Very cool.
So yeah, just like those kind of small experiences, it's a lot of fun to do in FlutterFlow. And it's also something, if you prototype it in Figma, it would take much more work, in my opinion, as well.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have the same experience of like being able to tap anything and you see it get added. So
yeah, same. Fun. I'm working on the FF wrapped stuff. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but anyways, I'm working on some secret project. And we're doing some, some intense animations on it. And I was like, I told a friend of mine, I was like, dude, I couldn't do this in Figma. Like, there's no way I could do this in Figma. Like, and if I did, it would be so annoying to do. Like, it would take me hours and hours and hours. And I got it all done in like 7 hours, like the whole thing, not just that one animation. And it's like, it's so fun. And it's performant, like, dude, it's on web, it's Chrome, Safari, mobile, like they're all work really well. I love it. So
yeah, same. I also like to add on like most buttons. What?
The search with the emoji suggestion.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's also a small detail. I'll show that first. Like when you add a name for anything, I don't know, phone, like it adds an emoji that matches, well, sort of should match the.
Yeah, like I know.
It sort of did. Dude, come on.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Wild. Again,
Did you
another
use a Boolean search for something like that too, or like?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really creative use case, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. And I mean, yeah, probably not very good products are gonna come out of this. But like, yeah, you get the
That's
idea.
awesome.
Impressive. No,
Very.
guys, this was great. This was the best use of our hour today. I think just showcasing what is possible, and not just what is possible with FlutterFlow, right? Like FlutterFlow is a platform, BuildShip is a platform. What you guys have done with these things and been able to ship is quite amazing, right? Like you guys are a rocket scientist and an engineer and an industrial designer. You know, you guys are very talented individuals, and you guys get to utilize those talents from other fields into app development now. Utilizing the platforms at hand, which is really, really cool. So this has been absolutely awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, we're super grateful, honestly, for you guys building this and like having this constant speed of development and being so passionate about what you're doing and helping us, and also for inviting us, of course, on here. We're always super excited. Like the amount of times that we've shared emails from FlutterFlow with each other, where it's like the 20 new features from FlutterFlow, and we're like, oh, look at this.
Yeah, and then like while we're reading through it, like sending screenshots and like, oh, they also added this. And, this is perfect. Like when the enums, we were.
Yeah.
And Constance, you will you'll enjoy a couple emails in the near future. Let's just say that. Sirian, you will for sure.
Oh, now I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's better than Christmas.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cool as well, right? Like when you're building on a static language, I mean, your speed of development is kind of based on your ability as an engineer to write code. When you're building on a platform, you actually directly benefit from the improvements that platform makes.
Yep.
And that, like, the rate of improvement of FlutterFlow is just so much higher than the rate of improvement of like TypeScript or JavaScript or something. You know? Like, I mean, it's
and Flutter itself, you know, like Gemini. Google just launched Gemini, and they have this app, well, actually web-based, Gemini Chat, and it's all developed in Flutter Web. All of it, you know, like it's very impressive.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We're super excited about Flutter. Of course, that you guys are like building on top of Flutter, like, and Flutter being such a strong foundation. We're super excited about Flutter Web for our use case too.
Yep. Cool. Well, guys, that brings us to the end of the live stream. This was great. Like I said, thank you so much for joining, taking the time. All the luck with you. Everybody go download GiftIt Social. Here, I'll share the link in the chat. Go download it, not just for yourself or not just because it's a cool app, but because it serves an amazing use case.
Oops, what time?
Serves an amazing use case.
End of live stream alarm.
That's right.
Yeah, my girlfriend.
Yeah, please send us emails, info@giftit.social if you have any feedback, or leave feedback through the app. If you go to settings, we have this little thing here.
Yeah, or just like the email on the website.
Just
like
write anything in here.
This bottom sheet.
Yes, we have to update it. But anyway,
all good. I stopped sharing your screen. I apologize. We went through that again. But yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, excellent, guys. All the best, and hope you have a wonderful December. So enjoy your travels back.
Thank you.
You too.